Neat Nation, welcome to Austin's house. That's where we are. Obviously, we're not at the bar.
In my kitchen.
Hey, what's up? Today's show is the hi-fi, lo-fi, whatever kind of fi is in stuff. It's lower than it usually is because I don't have my normal camera set up in Texas, where we are in Amarillo, which is a hell pit today.
Like 35 mile an hour wind, 65 mile an hour wind gusts. If you know what a haboob is,
which I did not
look it up.
So he texted me, we're driving, and I'm like, yeah, it's crazy out here. And he's like, yeah, it's a haboob. A haboob here. What is a haboob? I mean, it's fun to say. It is
fun to say.
But what is
a real term?
Do you have any idea what it means?
So you know, like the Sahara, those like walls of dust that you just.
What is with your dogs?
They're just playing.
Calm down.
Hey.
All right. So the walls of the Sahara.
Yeah. Like those walls of dust, like the big sandstorms that blow through. Those are haboobs.
You can't say haboob. There's also dogs. So if you see me looking at my crotch periodically, it's just a dog.
They're sweet.
But yeah, you can't say haboob. Anyway, we're not here to talk about haboobs. We are here to crack Weller 12, which I did not get. This is not my whiskey. This is Austin's whiskey. Contributor, member of Neat Nation and Swing Nation both, and also we both proceeded from the same man's loins. So we're what you call tight. And
oh my gosh.
And we're going to open this whiskey together. Austin, first though, I normally talk about how I got a whiskey, and then we'll talk about what the deal is with this. But first, how did you come across this?
Okay, so we went on our bourbon tour trip to Kentucky, as all of you are aware.
Most of you.
I was a brother that joined him, and when I got back, I heard people scoring some bottles from this new liquor store in town. They did a raffle. And they said they had some E.H. Taylor on the shelf. So I was like, okay, I'll just go see what they got. And I walked in, was looking, didn't see any E.H. Taylor. And so I asked them, and they're like, oh, yeah, we got one more in the back. Let me grab it for you. And I was like, okay, dope. How much? And they're like, $50. I was like, great. I'm in. Yes, thank you.
That's killer.
And then they were like, hey, whoever doesn't pick up their raffle stuff by Thursday, it'll be available Friday if they haven't picked it up. And I said, even better, I'll be back on Friday. So I showed up on Friday at 10 o'clock when they opened and scored this 12-year and a bottle of Eagle Rare, both at like $50 each.
Which is pretty awesome. I mean, you all know, Weller 12, MSRP is right about that 50 range.
I think I got the Eagle for 35.
It's great. Yeah, but the secondary value on the Weller 12 is like $200, that's 1.5 too many hundos. I mentioned that I'd probably buy it at $100 or less if I saw it, but it's probably not even $100 good. Generally, I've had it before. Wasn't huge on it, but it's been like 3 years or so. So revisiting this now, stoked to do that. This, of course, Weller 12 is 12-year-old Buffalo Trace wheated mash bill. 90 proof, so kind of a lame proof point, but enough for flavor vibes to be present. The 107 is generally regarded as the better whiskey, even though it's a little bit more easily attainable than the Weller 12. What I found interesting is you got this one this year, but it's still got the screw top, and the Weller line has moved to these gold wrap tops.
Oh, really?
That was my understanding, unless they kept just the screw top on the 12, but all full proof, like the ones we saw at the store today.
Yeah, and the CYPB.
Yeah, so maybe, but they had a 12 at the store too. Was that one discapped? Yeah, I don't know. So
we'll have to go back and look at your
CYPB,
video.
yeah, full proof, and then 107 are all gold foil wraps, whereas Special Reserve is still crinkle wrap, like crack wrap, yeah.
Crackhead?
Yeah. It's a crackhead top. Yeah. Absolutely. Hundo P. So maybe they kept the 12s with the crinkle tops, the crackhead versions. So this is a review. This is to get Austin's opinion and my opinion together because we are together. Real quick, I gotta show you guys this chair. This is sick. Austin's wife is great with child, and these bouncy balls are good for pregnant women. And there's a chair, a rolly chair, that actually fits the bouncy ball, and I found that to be a highly amusing and entertaining form of furniture. So let's do it. Why don't you crack it? It's your bottle.
Thank you. I was going to be upset.
No, yeah, I would never crack mine.
I really was hoping, because I love watching you crack a bottle when it's a cork, and you're just like,
yeah.
It's my favorite. I don't have any other uncracked bottles.
Okay. That's a bourbon junkie's move.
I'll just take a
pull.
Take a decent. I've been waiting.
I need like half that.
Drew told me this was like my super special occasion bottle, so I have not opened it yet.
Yeah, I told him it was a super rare pull. Like, I've only ever had one bottle of it,
so I have not drank it, and figured there's no better time to drink it than with the dude who actually knows what he's talking about.
Well, you don't need to know what you're talking about.
Well, no, as long as it's enjoyed properly.
Of course, which is kind of however you want to drink it. 12 years old, I would expect some oak profile to be present. 12-year-old Elijah Craig, it's oaky. Even Stag Jr., which is not 12 years old, in the Buffalo Trace line, is still conveying some level of oakiness. So I would expect some sweet oak vibes, even at 90 proof. Those are likely going to be tempered down, similar to maybe, old school Elijah Craig small batch. That's not even weeded. There's not a comparable weeded bourbon, sitting at 12 years old on the market. There's just not.
It smells banana-y and fruity.
Yeah, we shouldn't have lotioned.
Yeah.
But thankfully it's unscented. Yeah, I'm not really smelling too much, so. You didn't use soap on these glasses, did you? I'm sure they were in the dishwasher, but yeah. This is really floral and fruity. That is true. It was a good call. Maybe a subtle banana, well ripened, not really like banana runs, that artificial banana flavor. I get that a lot in Woodford Preserve, Old Forester. It's not heavy. Some pear. And I get some oak on the nose too, some woodiness that's nice. It's pretty mellow, typical of 90 proof to have a mellow nose. We're also dealing with neck pour, so we didn't give it much time to waft. Also, my allergies because of the dogs
and the dust.
Yeah,
it's Amarillo is ridiculous when it comes to weather. So the last time it was this one, it was about a year and a half ago, and it's literally everything is brown. It's a brownout. It's crazy.
Yeah. It doesn't. The driving into Amarillo with that kind of vibe doesn't make it seem like a place you would want to live. The city is not bad, and there's some good food. We had some good food.
Yeah.
Actually in Canyon tonight, and then there's good coffee, and good beer. So it's not a total lost cause.
Y'all will have the really good food tomorrow night.
Yes.
Yes. So good. Oh my gosh.
So the critique of Weller 12, getting back to this whiskey, is generally that it's fairly thin and drying. Like, not a whiskey that fills up your palate with a lot of viscosity and sweetness. But the nose was pretty floral, sweet, and fruity, so I have actually pretty good vibes, sensorial vibes, before I take a sip here.
It is very thin.
Well, it's 90 proof. It has, so a good comp for it, in terms of like comparing it to a rye bourbon, would be like Blanton's. Where this actually tastes to me pretty good. Like, it's a good bourbon, and it's very clearly mature. The oak on it is present, but it's not coupled with deep brown sugar. It's more like a light caramel on top of a little bit of a charcoaly oakiness. You want to do a bonus round?
Well, no, I just want to try something that's young compared to something that's not.
So this is likely Bardstown Bourbon Company distillate, bottled by Blue Note. So it says distilled in Kentucky, bottled by Blue Note. I'm going out on a limb and guessing it's Bardstown Bourbon Company.
Does it say it's in Bardstown? Or?
No, it just says Kentucky.
Oh yeah, just distilled in Kentucky.
Does it have an age statement? Does it say aged at least X amount of years?
Yeah, somewhere it says aged at least 3.
Oh, yeah, right. So we're talking about a pretty young whiskey, but I tasted it earlier. It's not bad. But yeah, if you're ever, like, trying to decide how you feel about a whiskey, tasting it up against something else is generally helpful.
3 years.
Minimum of 3 years. I would say, though, real quick before you do that, generally you want to try and find something as close in comparison as possible, where we have a wheated bourbon here, and then you have probably rye Kentucky bourbon. Get the maker's cask. So the maker's cask strength, which he has up there, much higher proof, obviously, but not age stated. It's we generally know makers to be in the 8-year-old range, and they cycle their barrels to maintain a really consistent flavor profile. So I think that would be a good comp, even though it's going to be a lot higher proof. You can even add a little bit of water to try and actually get the proof fairly leveled out. But if you're kind of a proof junkie, you taste something cask strength and then you taste something lower proof, you're probably going to be biased to the cask strength. If you're a whiskey noob, which is fine, you're probably going to be biased to the thing that is smoother, which is generally the thing that's lower proof. So what I would say, in my opinion, on the Weller 12 is it's so good for somebody who is just getting into bourbon. And the deal is this used to be on the shelf at like $30, like 5 years ago. You could get it everywhere before their rebrand. Find a dog hair in there?
No, I got some wax in there from that.
Oh, well, it's probably won't kill you. So it used to be readily available, easily accessible, great price point, and it was killer at that. Like, that's great whiskey for that. To sell it at a super high premium, it just doesn't have the palate to really hold up. I personally didn't find it terribly thin until the finish. The front I liked. It had good, like, creaminess, and then was sweet. I get a lot of pear in it. Hits you with some dry oak, but then the finish falls really flat. So it's like good, and then it kind of turns into a suggestion of black pepper, and then it's gone out of your palate. And I'm not that's where it kind of I'm not. I want more.
It's definitely good for like that price point that it used to be. Like I got it for $50, and I'm not upset by that at all. But when we went into that liquor store earlier today and it was on the shelf for like $2.50,
it was ridiculous. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So like I would never. I mean, I would probably never pay that for any whiskey ever. So.
Yeah, the ones I have has been few and far between. Yeah. But yeah, I'm in at $50 on this all day because it's really solid and it's fun to have around because it's super rare.
Yeah.
But it's just not worth much more than that. I want it to be because I really like Buffalo Trace stuff. I like the 12-year age statement. I like that it's a wheated bourbon. But beyond that, like, whatever. How did the makers compare? I'm going to get a glass too. Yeah. So what do you think of the makers compared to the Weller then? I mean, so different. Oh, you killed it.
Well, I didn't take that much. So out of my collection, I called you not long after and I was asking about the maker's cask strength because it was on the shelf for $40.
Yeah.
And it is probably my favorite bottle that I have. Maybe right behind, I don't know, McKenna 10-year probably beats that, but not by much. I think they're both awesome. They're both very tasty.
Yeah, I'm going to add a little water to kind of proof down the makers. Oops. A little bit to try and get a little more comparable. But if I'm assessing beyond proof, the Makers is delivering a little bit more baking spice a la cinnamon and nutmeg, whereas the Weller is much fruitier.
Yeah, I mean, you can get that right off the nose. It's more savory than the Weller 12.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's not packing much fruit at all. This is just like brown sugar and spice, whereas this one is like light caramel and light fruits too. Yeah. And maybe some floral flowers on the nose. That's it. Do you have anything else to say about this one?
No, I mean, it's good.
It's good.
I would probably take the cask strength over the Weller 12.
You like that one better?
I do.
Yeah, I think it would depend on the day for me. If I want a robust bourbon, yeah. I mean, I'm a Makers guy. If you watch the Droopy Whiskey channel, you know that I'm definitely into Makers before I'm willing to pay anywhere close to secondary for Weller products. And I think Makers Cask and some of the limited release makers, which I just did a video on Makers last week, they're killing it. They're crushing it. And yeah, don't be shy. Get the Makers. It's on the shelf. It's waiting for you. And it looks sick too with all this wax. They really went overboard on this one. this is an aggressive dump. I think they're supposed to like stop here and then drip.
I think most of their cask strengths are like that.
Like full, they just go full bore.
Yeah.
Amen.
But I definitely want to dip my own bottle someday.
You gotta put your shit. Chefs aside, y'all, I hope you dig this week's video. We may do another one because why not? But yeah, that's the review of Weller 12. It's fine, but it's not worth $100. Probably not. I'm out. I think I'm out at 100 because I'm not gonna drink it and be proud of paying $100 for it. I think I'm gonna adjust my limit down to 75. But I still enjoy it, and I'm going to enjoy the living crap out of the rest of this because it's like Blanton's. It's good at the price it should be at. That's all
I can get behind that.
All right, y'all. Follow along on Instagram at Droopy Whiskey. Click down in the show notes below for the link to last week's video about the Makers limited releases. And stay tuned for more. Y'all, keep it neat. Bye.
Later.